So yeah, I'm angry. I'm an angry woodworker. I'm going to tell you a story today that I know is going to make you angry too. But it's a story that needs to be told, and I've been sitting on it for a while because I was waiting for this scam to blow over, and maybe it did, maybe it didn't. I don't know. It was like a year ago, around that time. So YouTube's got some problems. A lot of people complain about it. A lot of people complain about trolling. What's up with that? Like, trolling is like a real problem on YouTube. Now, I know there's artificial comments and people do things to provoke reactions and but really, is that the real problem? When I hear people complaining about trolling, it really makes me cringe. Because the real problem is the scammers on YouTube. And my question is, does YouTube do enough to prevent the scamming? And it could go either way. The thing is, it's a legal issue. These scams that are run by people, they understand how the legal system works, and they exist in these kind of loopholes where people, normal people like you and me, can fall into these traps and be subject to extortion. It's basically what it is. And since I've been on YouTube, I've encountered 2 of these scams, and people are attempting to extort me for money right now. I'm dealing with a copyright infringement claim on 2 of my videos. I got 2 videos taken down and a copyright strike on my main channel because I infringed on somebody's music license. I'll talk more about that in another video, okay? Because a lot of people have the problem with the copyright infringement, and I fell into a little scam with that, and it's still ongoing, so I don't want to comment on it right now, but I'll make another video about that later on. But this video, I'm going to talk about the cheese slicer scam. And you might think, this is just too weird to be true, but this is what happened to me. And I talk about patent trolling sometimes when people bring up the cheese slicers in conversation. If somebody comes over and they want to see my work and I just happen to have this out and people talk about it and they might want to buy it, and I'm like, no, I don't sell these. You want to know how much this costs? Try $4,000, because that's what I was going to have to pay to settle out of court in my patent infringement claim. People don't know how to react to this because they don't know what patent trolling is. I ask them, have you heard about this? Do you know what goes on? And people are like, no, for the most part. I'd say like 9 times out of 10, nobody's heard of patent trolling, and people just are unaware of it being a real threat and a real problem. So here's how this thing went down. I got an email out of the blue from this guy who had a patent for a cheese slicer, and he emailed me and said, hey, we have this problem here. I have a patent and you infringed on my property, but I don't want to get the lawyers involved. I want to be your friend. I want to come up with a solution that we can talk about on friendly terms, and we'll get through this. Okay? Now, anytime you're getting totally fucked over, this is a red flag. When somebody comes at you out of the blue and says, I want to be your friend. Let's come up with a solution that's friendly. Okay? That's how you know you're going to get fucked. That's what lawyers do. Okay? And this first email that he wrote suggesting that we not get the lawyers involved was carbon copied to his lawyer. Okay? So that was kind of a red flag right off the bat. So my initial interpretation of this email was, this is a joke. This is somebody harassing me, making a frivolous claim, and my initial reaction was just to tell this guy to go F himself, stop trolling me. I don't need this harassment. But I didn't do that. Instead, I went to the patent that he gave me a link to the patent. I went to that, verified that the patent was real, and then did a little search for YouTube patent trolling. Okay, and then I realized that this is a real thing. Okay, when I looked up what patent trolling was, I realized I was in some shit. Okay, and that telling this guy to go F himself probably is not going to be the best way to resolve this issue. So it's kind of ironic, here I am thinking this guy must be harassing me, but then if I go and tell him to go F himself, then I'm the bad guy and I'm harassing him. So, just a word of caution there. If you ever get into a hairy situation where somebody's making a claim against you, don't get angry and don't get rude. Okay, my way of mitigating the situation was to be as polite and respectful as I could be, and it may have worked. Okay, the situation did blow over. It's been a long time since I've heard anything, so I don't think it's going to be a problem. And the issue that was brought to my attention, which you'll read about in the email, was one specific feature of my cheese slicer that caused the problem, and that was the curved surface of the sled. That was a feature that was described in the patent for this other competing cheese slicer, and that was the claim of infringement. Now, you could argue, if I had $1 million, I could argue that the curved surface of the sled is obvious to its design. However, I would need $1 million and a team of patent lawyers to come up with the language to admit in court, and, I'm not going to do that. So, I infringed on my cheese slicer. Even though I designed it myself, even though I'm a woodworker and I'm an artist, and this is wood, and I made it, I'm still an infringer. So can anybody tell me what's wrong with patent law these days when an artist working in his own medium, in his own studio, by himself, how the product of his own labor can be a threat to impose financial damages by some other corporation? Imagine that. So let me try to explain what patent trolling is, because you've probably heard about patents, and nothing says you design something than getting that government seal of approval. And there's a lot of good reasons to get a patent and have your intellectual property defined and protected. But there's a lot of bureaucracy that goes along with that, and the way patents worked 100 years ago is a lot different than how it works now. And if you actually want to mitigate a patent trial case, then you need to come up with $1 million as the starting cost to get that process going. So it's very, very expensive. It really doesn't serve any purpose for normal people like you or me anymore. And today, getting a patent doesn't really make a whole lot of sense unless you're a big business. And that's where part of this problem is, because the cost of litigation is so high. And the way patent trolling works is basically it extorts small businesses for money up front to settle out of court. So really, you just need to have some kind of case to make a frivolous lawsuit against somebody, and then you can impose your solution to settle out of court, which is going to be a lot less than having somebody defend themselves against a frivolous lawsuit. So that's how patent trolls are able to use the bureaucratic mess of the patent system to extort other businesses for money to settle out of court regarding frivolous or ridiculous lawsuits that serve no purpose to protect innovation. Here's the thing with getting a patent that I think enables this loophole to occur. You can get a patent without any intention of manufacturing a product. So if you think of, in terms of prospecting, you come up with an idea that you think might be a manufacturable idea, but you don't have any intention of actually developing that process into something that actually works and turns a profit. You just need intellectual property on paper. So you can get a patent for a lot of ridiculous things, and we always kind of point this out, like how many kind of silly things that people get a patent for, and we kind of make fun of it and jokes and everything like that, but we don't realize that that's probably connected to patent trolling, and there's an economic reason for getting those ridiculous looking patents, because they can be used to file frivolous claims against other real businesses manufacturing real products, and they can make money settling out of court. So you don't need to actually sell and make a product to get a patent. You can just sit on that intellectual property and then troll the internet looking for people who infringe. And that's how it works. So you can read the emails that transpired. I decided to resolve the conflict by claiming that I have no intention of ever selling this product, which in fact was true. Because this product is one of my failed designs, and not because it didn't work. It worked exceptionally well, but I had some issues with the wire breaking, and the tension mechanism needed to be redesigned because it was too difficult to change the wire. So if I actually sold this product to somebody who wasn't an expert with tools, then I would have a problem with getting that product maintained. So I came up with a new design with a new sled and a new tension mechanism that is much easier to change the wire. And that's what I have over here. So instead of fighting these patent trolls, I decided to innovate past them all, and I came up with a new sled design with a flat surface. And I just want to emphasize the flatness of the sled. Why is it flat? It's flat to enable more functionality and more stability of placing the cheese onto the sled. And I no longer need the curved surface because this width is short enough that the wire conforms and completes the cut regardless. So I've innovated past the necessity of the curved surface by incorporating a smaller, more compact stainless steel cutting surface. And so now my design should be 100% legit. Stainless steel is obviously more involved. I probably spent a couple hours just polishing this and sanding it. You could also make this out of wood, or you could make the curved sled. But I have to discourage you from that, because I don't encourage infringement. You don't want to have to deal with this guy, trust me. The curved sled, it's just not worth it. It's an extra part, it's difficult to make, and the cheese gets all gunked up on that wood. See all that open grain? Gets all clogged up with cheese. And then you got to spend more time cleaning and maintaining. Total failure. Stainless steel, flat stock, it's the way to go, man. This is pure innovation. Pure engineering and expert craftsmanship, all wrapped up into one. What a piece of art. Not to boast or anything. I'm just really proud of my design. So that's my cheese slicer drama. And I think you should know about patent trolling. So regard this as your educational experience. And I want to share just another thing to wrap up this video. I got a copyright strike on a couple of my videos, one of which was this product, making my Skinny Ultra Push. Yeah. So I'm a copyright infringer too, because apparently, even though Content ID is supposed to mitigate all of these copyright claims and, you know, solve all these problems, YouTube still gives the power of copyright strike and takedown in the hands of the license holders for music. So even though Copyright ID can take care of everything and solve all those conflicts, those licensors can still come in, take down your videos, and try to extort you for money as well. And that's what I'm dealing with at this moment. So this is another product that got taken off YouTube. So think about this for a second, okay? Two of my uppermost innovations in terms of engineering and original designs and functionality, both of these products have been attacked by scammers on YouTube. These are my two top most innovative projects that required a lot of intelligence to come up with. And what happened? Copyright strike. Patent troll scam. Think about it. Is it a coincidence? Or is this what it's like to be the master craftsman? I don't know. Certainly gets interesting, though. And maybe we can all send a message to YouTube that we know that this stuff is going on. And if we could at least get that far, YouTube could maybe be in a better position to address the issue and maybe educate other people, inform other people about the risks involved. Am I the only YouTuber that's been subject to patent troll scams? Am I the only innovator artist that's had to go through all of this? Okay, I don't know. I got more stories. Okay, this is just the beginning. But I hope these cheese slicers can do well for me. I don't really want to make things for people. I just want to sell ideas and hardware and, you know, bring the inspiration of woodworking to a larger community. Okay? And my push sticks make woodworking safer. So I'm not really doing a bad thing here. Okay? I'm just sharing my ideas, using YouTube for its intended purpose, trying to make it a better place. Are you going to let all these scammers shit all over me? At some point it's going to be up to you to do something about this. To say, you know, that this is wrong, you know. Now, I will make a disclaimer. I do not support any form of online harassment, and I do not encourage anybody to contact this guy in any way, shape, or form, but I just want to... So, the fact that I can create something out of my freedom to express myself and share ideas and have that be regarded as a threat and worthy of monetary damages to some corporation manufacturing a product out of different materials, how is it that our legal system cannot distinguish the work that I'm doing as an artist and me expressing myself as an artist from the business interests of protecting intellectual property for the purposes of manufacturing products and turning profits? Okay? How is it that just making a product can still qualify for infringement? Because that is how patent law is defined. Making, using, selling. So just making something can qualify you as an infringer for some frivolous lawsuit. Doesn't make any sense. But that's part of the problem here. Okay? Part of the problem with the way our laws work is that they don't distinguish individuals from corporations. And that's a fundamental flaw that was worked into the system later on, much later. And our Constitution doesn't acknowledge, you know, individual rights different from the rights of corporations. So that's part of the problem of why such misplaced power is in the hands of licensors, and why people's freedom of speech is easily infringed upon with these copyright strikes and takedowns. Shouldn't be that way. Because clearly there are lawyers out there that take on predatory roles in nature and extort people, exploit them, create their own loopholes, create their own bureaucracy that they can, then use for their own benefit. Part of the reason why that continues and occurs is people don't know about it. We need more education, and we need to get people involved with the legal process. Okay? It's not just a case of a few bad apples running around. Okay? This is a larger problem. Okay? So we need to generate the lawsuits to send the message to YouTube and all the scammers that First Amendment rights need to be respected and treated with more dignity here. It's a First Amendment for a reason. It's Amendment number 1. Okay? And it shouldn't be subject to getting walked on all over by these copyright licensors who can clearly have bad intentions but still use the system to exploit people who have no bad intentions. So that's clearly something wrong, and if we can just start suing people for infringing on other people's freedom of speech, then I think it could send a very impactful message. But that's going to take the effort of some lawyers that want to do the right thing and other people to get involved. So this is the start of that process. Okay, so admittedly I'm no legal expert, and maybe somebody out there can explain this to me in more clear terms, but I just don't understand how easy it is for outside parties to use this guise of protecting intellectual property to walk right over somebody else's freedom of expression, and that's perfectly okay. It just doesn't seem right that my work as an artist is in the same category as any business out there. I know maybe that sounds kind of entitled, but really, if say I hire somebody to make cheese slicers, then maybe it crosses the line. But if I'm an artist working in my own medium, I should have 100% insulation from the outside world coming in and saying, no, you can't produce that out of wood. I'm a woodworker, I'm an artist, and I should have the right to make anything out of wood no matter what. If I want to make a magic 8-ball out of wood, I should be able to make that. That's one of those ridiculous patents that maybe is most familiar to you. Somebody patented the magic 8-ball. But what if I wanted to make one out of wood? That's not going to be easy to do. It'll take some engineering. It'll take a little bit of expertise to make that happen. But I could get sued for that. I could get sued. It just doesn't make any sense that some corporation can assess punitive damages to individuals. So thanks for watching this video. I know I rambled on for a while here, but it's an important message and an important experience to share. And the reason why I'm doing this and making this public, okay, is to encourage people to get involved with the process of plugging up these loopholes so that people's First Amendment rights don't get walked on, and we can make YouTube a better place. So if you want to call your senator and get involved, you can do that. And you can even email them and send a link to this video saying, hey, there's an artist that's getting walked all over by these scammers legally, and it's not right. We got to do something. So that's my contribution today. I do not encourage harassment. I do not encourage trolling for no purpose other than to incite others and provoking them. But that's the least of all our concerns right now on YouTube. First Amendment rights, freedom to express yourself, freedom to share your ideas without the risk of being infringed upon by outside influences is priority number 1 to make YouTube a better place right now, in my opinion. And we got to do something about it. So thanks for watching, and I have the cheese slicer videos coming soon.